In 2026, a rare virus linked to rodents suddenly made headlines after a cruise ship outbreak. People got sick. Some cases became severe. Health officials around the world started watching closely. The virus is called Hantavirus, and it is not new. But what happened in 2026 made people ask one question: should we be worried? At 6:22 in the morning on May 4th, 2026, the MV Hantavirus was already far from shore when the ship's medical officer received an urgent call. A passenger, Maria Lopez, had developed high fever, muscle pain, and a relentless cough overnight. Within an hour, her breathing worsened. The ship's captain reviewed the medical log and ordered the infirmary to isolate Lopez immediately. By 9:45, she was moved under escort to a sealed cabin, and a portable negative pressure unit was set up to contain any airborne threat. The captain's next move was swift and unambiguous. At 2 in the afternoon, an encrypted alert was sent to the Dutch Maritime Authority and the World Health Organization, reporting a possible severe respiratory infection of unknown cause. The message identified a suspect Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Within minutes, the ship's command center activated a full quarantine, locking down all cabins and instructing the crew to wear N95 respirators. Dining halls were closed, public spaces emptied. Passengers were told to remain in their rooms until further notice. A blood sample from Lopez was drawn and shipped by chartered courier to Madrid's Instituto de Salud, Carlos III. Less than 24 hours later, the lab confirmed the diagnosis: Hantavirus, specifically the Andes virus strain. The news moved up the international chain of command. By the morning of May 5th, the World Health Organization, CDC, and European health agencies were all on high alert. Contact monitoring began at once. Cabin mates, crew, and anyone who had shared the same buffet line as Lopez were placed under close watch. The ship's RFID badge records mapped every possible exposure. High-risk contacts were tested first, followed by broader screening for moderate and low-risk groups. The captain and medical officer worked side by side, following each protocol to the letter. Every decision was time-stamped, every action logged. The goal: contain the outbreak, protect the lives on board, and prevent a rodent-borne virus from spreading further. This was not a drill. This was the real thing. A rare person-to-person transmission suspected. A deadly virus confirmed, and the world's attention focused on a single ship at sea. Hantavirus belongs to a family of rodent-borne viruses that have haunted public health officials for decades. The story begins not in a laboratory, but in the wild, where rodents, not humans, are the primary hosts. In the early 1990s, a mysterious and deadly respiratory illness swept through the Four Corners region of the American Southwest. Doctors saw young, healthy adults deteriorate within days. Blood tests and autopsies revealed a new culprit: a virus carried by deer mice. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention named it Sin Nombre, and the world learned a new phrase: Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. In 1993 alone, 24 people died. The pattern was clear. Humans became infected when they inhaled dust contaminated with rodent droppings or urine. But Hantavirus is not just an American story. In the forests of South America, scientists identified a different lineage: the Andes virus. First isolated in Argentina in the mid-1990s, Andes virus brought a disturbing new twist. Unlike other hantaviruses, this strain could, in rare cases, move from person to person, especially among close contacts and caregivers. The phrase rare person-to-person transmission entered the medical vocabulary, and every new cluster drew international scrutiny. Across Europe and Asia, another branch of the Hantavirus family causes a different illness: hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. Here, the virus attacks the kidneys rather than the lungs. Hantavirus in Korea and Hantavirus in Scandinavia are the main culprits. While old-world hantaviruses rarely cause the dramatic lung failure seen in the Americas, they remind us that these viruses have a global reach, each with its own preferred rodent host and clinical signature. This diversity sets the stage for understanding why the Andes lineage on the cruise ship in 2026 raised such alarm. Hantavirus is a rodent-borne virus. In nearly every case, infection begins with the environment, not another person. The virus lives in the bodies of wild rodents, especially the long-tailed pygmy rice rat, Oligorhizomys longicaudatus, native to the forests and grasslands of Patagonia. When these animals shed urine, droppings, or saliva, tiny viral particles can linger in dust. Cleaning a storage room, disturbing an old pantry, or even handling contaminated grain can send these particles into the air. Inhaling that dust is the main way people get sick. This is how Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome starts. The Andes virus strain, at the center of the 2026 outbreak, stands apart from its cousins. Unlike Sin Nombre or Pumala, Andes virus has shown it can, in rare circumstances, as from one person to another. Epidemiologists traced household clusters in Argentina and Chile, finding that prolonged close contact, like sharing a bedroom or caring for a sick relative, sometimes allowed the virus to jump from human to human. These events remain exceptional. Outbreaks in places like Apuyan, Argentina, in 2018, involved extended family gatherings and days of contact. Even then, most cases still began with rodent exposure. You do not usually get hantavirus just by walking past someone in public. The virus does not float freely through crowds or spread by casual conversation. The 2026 cruise ship cluster raised alarms because of its setting and the presence of the Andes strain. But this does not mean a global pandemic is happening. This does not mean the virus spreads easily. The public risk remains low. Hantavirus is serious but rare. Early medical care is important, and awareness, not panic, is the best defense. Inside the intensive care unit, the reality of Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome becomes painfully clear. The disease does not wait. What begins as fever and muscle aches can, in a matter of hours, turn into a fight for every breath. Doctors watch as oxygen levels fall and the lungs fill with fluid, even when the heart is still strong. The shift from mild symptoms to respiratory collapse is sudden. A narrow window separates early warning from disaster. Dr. Elena Marquez, who treated the cruise ship's first critical patient, described the pattern as a steep drop after a deceptively gentle start. She recalls how, within 6 hours, the patient went from mild shortness of breath to full respiratory failure. Standard medical support is not enough. Most patients need mechanical ventilation, sometimes within a single day of arriving at the hospital. The goal is simple: keep the lungs working long enough for the body to clear the virus. There is no cure. There is no proven antiviral. Supportive care, including ventilators, fluids, and careful management of blood pressure, gives patients their best shot. But even with the best doctors and equipment, survival is not guaranteed. The statistics are sobering. In the Americas, about 38% of Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome cases end in death. The only proven way to improve survival is to recognize the disease early and get to a hospital quickly. Early medical care is important. In this fight, hours can mean the difference between life and death. The urgency is real, and the risk is not theoretical. Hantavirus is serious but rare, and the danger inside the lungs is what drives doctors to act fast. Laboratory sequencing delivered the verdict. The virus from the cruise ship matched the Chilean Andes clade with 99.4% identity. There were no mutations linked to increased transmissibility, and no evidence of a new, more contagious strain. Health officials from the World Health Organization and the Pan American Health Organization released joint statements repeating a single message: public risk remains low. Hantavirus is a serious but rare rodent-borne virus. The outbreak on the ship was not like COVID. There was no sustained onboard spread, no silent transmission among strangers in hallways or dining rooms. The virus did not leap from passenger to passenger through casual contact. The World Health Organization's Ana Maria Garcia put it simply, "You do not usually get hantavirus just by walking past someone in public." The CDC echoed this, stressing that rare person-to-person transmission is possible with Andes virus, but only in settings of prolonged, close contact, like caring for a sick family member or sharing a cabin for days. The 2026 cluster showed why health officials pay attention, but it did not signal a pandemic. Prevention starts at home. If you find rodent droppings or nests, ventilate the area for at least 30 minutes before cleaning. Never sweep dry, dampen surfaces with disinfectant, use gloves, and wear an N95 or better respirator. Dispose of waste in sealed bags. Seal up holes and gaps to keep rodents out. Store food in airtight containers. Teach everyone in the household what to look for and how to clean safely. Early medical care is important. Recognizing hantavirus pulmonary syndrome quickly can save lives. The lesson of 2026 is not panic, but vigilance. Hantavirus is not like COVID. It does not spread through crowds, and outbreaks remain rare. But the danger is real. Awareness, prevention, and rapid medical attention are the best defense. Hantavirus is a serious but rare rodent-borne virus. Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, especially from Andes virus, can follow rare person-to-person transmission. But this is not like COVID. For most people, the risk remains low. Early medical care is important. The lesson is prevention, vigilance, and remembering that awareness saves lives.